Navigating China's New Normal, the podcast that explores the evolving challenges and opportunities for multinational corporations operating in China. As the era of rapid growth and easy market entry fades, businesses now face a maturing market characterized by increased competition, shrinking margins, and shifting consumer behavior.
Today, we've got a fantastic guest with us, Thomas Knoop, the General Manager for the Benelux Chamber of Commerce in East China. He has been playing a big role in helping Benelux companies grow their business presence here in China. Thomas isn't new to China neither. He's been here for almost 15 years, about 30 years ago. He started his own company, Knoop International, providing customer communication on the online conversation IT solutions. He's also the co-founder of CCXE, a community that brings together experts focused on customer experience, help them build resources, networks, and knowledge in China. Here, we are excited to have Thomas with us today, and we'll be diving into some key questions around China market and strategies for newcomers. So stick around and get ready to hear some valuable insight from Thomas. So Thomas, you have been living and working in China for nearly 15 years now.
Yeah.
So it's quite a journey.
Yes.
How has your personal relationship with China evolved over the years? What's your emotional connection to this country?
Yeah, I think when you arrive in China, obviously you like the country, but I guess it took me two and a half years whenever I traveled back to Europe, I felt a little bit out of place, and after 3-4 days, I think, oh, I want to go back home.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have that feeling, you want to go back home, then you start to develop a deeper connection with the country. And that's been evolving for the past 15 years. Yeah.
So generally, how do you feel about China actually?
I feel very optimistic. I feel very happy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel very excited. And
A lot of beautiful words.
Yes, want to be part of it every moment I can.
Okay, great.
It's true. I mean, since you've mentioned that you've been here 15 years, and the emotional connection developed over time.
Yes.
There are stages usually when you go abroad and you stay for a long time. They talk about after 3 years, after 7 years. Do you see that those steps happening? Like maybe after a few years, you got fed up with everything, or?
No, luckily I've never been fed up with everything, because if you reach that moment in time, it's very dangerous personally, because then you might take you need to move then basically, right? But if you fed up, you need to move. That luckily never happened to me. So of course there are upsides and downsides, and you have things that go well and sometimes things that go bad. But for me, always the balance has been that I actually love being here. I always say I wanted to get a new challenge, and when I moved to China, I got a new challenge every day. And so far, that's been much better than not getting challenges. So, yeah.
Great. So, Thomas, look back in your business journey here. If you could sit down with the younger Thomas who has just starting out, so what advice would you give him? Anything you wish you would know earlier?
Yeah, like I said, the 2.5 years was also a mindset change when I was living in China. So if I could go back to the earlier Thomas, I probably would have said, open up your heart and your mind earlier. Mm-hmm. From the other side, you have to experience things yourself before you truly can fully commit on it. So I think people and I can say a lot of things, but the most important thing is that people or companies experience it themselves. Just be aware of the commitment you need to make to be here and to succeed.
Mm-hmm. So the business landscape in China is always changing. You can feel that over the 15 years, right? So from the perspective, what exciting opportunities do you see right now for foreign investors, especially in the current economic climate?
Yeah, I think the economic climate worldwide is different than after COVID. Obviously, also in China. China has developed themselves massively in the past 15 years. So in the beginning, when I was here, it was still very cool to have a very cool foreign brand, and you entered the market as a brand, as you were, and as you were in your home markets. Um, China has developed many great brands in the past 15 years. So if you are entering China as a brand, expect much more competition from very professional players in this market. If you are a company that is more B2B, so you are manufacturing maybe a part, or you're in a supply chain for an end product, I think now is the time to be in China. China still has likes to have high quality products, whether that is in security or in physical quality. And as a foreign company, you can really insert yourself in this supply chain and be very successful. If you are just a brand and you come here with an end product, yeah, you need to do a thorough market investigation to see who is your competitor, and are you ready to compete in this huge market.
So, what's your thoughts on the Chinese breed?
China speed means, for me, most and for all, very pragmatic. So in China, we're not going to make a business plan for 5 to 10 years. Yes, you do that, but you don't spend too much time on it. You are looking at, okay, how can we achieve step 1, step 2, and then go to step 3, step 4. Maybe it's not working, so we go back to step 3, and then we try step 4A. So it's small steps, every time a little bit. And if you need to deviate from the strategy that you made for the 5 years, that's not an issue at all for China. For European and Western companies, that is a big issue, because they always keep the mission and vision as the holy grail. That is what we need to achieve, and everything follows the holy grail. Here, it's very normal to change the goal and change the mission and vision, and that can happen within 2 weeks, while that would be impossible for a Western company. Yeah. So later also you will see that companies that are open and flexible to go with the flow, go with the China speed, are more likely to succeed than companies that say, no, we are this brand, we have this strategy, this is how we enter the market, and this is how we're going to stick to it. Most likely you will see those brands fail in China. Yeah.
For some companies, they're looking to enter Chinese market, right? So preparation is key, just like you said. What should foreign company be doing to set themselves up for success here? Any must-do strategies?
Yes. First of all, you need to come here. First of all,
That's important.
quite simple. You just book a flight and you arrange your hotel. You probably already reached out maybe to some people that you are eyeing to help you do the market entry, but you must come yourself. And it would be best if part of the management team that is deciding for this step all come together and search a partner that can help you show around, maybe in your industry, visit maybe some competitors, or visit some companies in the field, and try to get feedback from them, how the situation is. I think so. That's step 1. You must visit yourself. You must take a few days, at least, maybe 3-4 days. You really must come here. I guarantee you it will change your mindset. Whatever mindset you have, it will be changed after your visit. Only then you might think of next steps, which is a reliable partner to do the market research, maybe registration of IP or brand, etc., etc. That would be my first advices for any company that considers coming to China.
Yeah, you mentioned that you have to come here yourself, right?
Yes.
Visit to see the real market, to feel that. Sometimes you need
to feel the China speed. Take a train to Hangzhou and go with 380 kilometers per hour and travel. That is China speed. You need to see that yourself. You can't. We can talk about it for hours, but the person that is on the other side of the screen, I think it will just. You don't have the feeling. If you have been here, you've smelled the air, you've done the travel, you've seen the pace. Only then you can really understand what is happening here.
We've seen that a lot since the reopening of China after COVID and the free visa and for many countries. The number of people who had misconceptions about China, but even before COVID era, I would say, that show on Western media what it is to travel and maybe live a little in China. I think it's always important for that to reassess what you think about China.
Yeah, in the past 6 months I've received at least 7 or 8 delegations from all kinds of industries. And the one thing that they say is, it is so different than we thought it would be. They are all flabbergasted and speechless of what is happening here, and you can name anything, whether it's the electric cars on the road, whether it's the not polluted air, because everybody thinks it's polluted here, whether it's the state security and you will followed. Their minds are just completely flabbergasted and said none of it is actually the reality. But we can say that 500 times. It doesn't matter. People need to experience that before they really believe it. So that's why the number one step is visit yourself. Make up your own opinion. That's the most important.
And I think also it's a good, even though people might not speak Chinese, there are a lot of Chinese who can speak English, but it's face in China, Mianzi, is very important. So paying a visit, especially from people who are making the decisions, even if it's just a few days, has a huge impact on the people you meet here, because they see the Laoban, they see the boss.
No, it's a way of showing respect for the people showing respect for the people that you're going to do business with, and seeing those people in person, having a dinner with them, having a deeper connection with them will always be beneficial for the future. Not showing up and keeping everything online. It is a way, but not typically a very successful way.
So as a foreigners, you have worked here for over 15 years. How can you build stronger relationship with local partners? What do you do?
It's very easy and maybe a little bit cliche. Yes, it helps. It helps. So for the people that are watching and not know what baijiu is, it's the Chinese liquor, 52% alcohol. And in China, after you've drank a large portion of that type of alcohol, there are no boundaries anymore in your behavior. You get a little bit drunk. And if you're still a good person while you're drunk, then the other party will really trust you, because even when you do business in bad times, you will still behave from the good heart if you are good when you are drunk. So you can say, why do they drink that much? If you're here longer and you've seen bad people when they are drunk, you actually prefer not to do business with them, because in bad times they will most likely turn bad. So how to build a connection. You don't need to get drunk. That's a cliche thing. Also, like, it's not a must. But dinners for sure. Talk about more than business, because it's very simple. How are you going to trust a person, even in your home country? Right? You will trust a person if you know him better. Personal life, what are there any issues, which is also fine to share, or what is going well, your family, and the more you share and discuss with each other, the more trust you will build. It's not something you cannot build trust from a piece of paper or showing a certificate like I'm the best. There are many people that can do that, but building a relationship is still something between two humans, and needs to also be done outside of the boardroom.
Thomas, in your experience, what are some of the most common mistakes that foreign companies make when they enter the Chinese markets, and any strategies to counteract them?
Yeah, the most common mistake is to think that you can do a copy paste of your strategy of your home market to China. It sounds very simple. You have a Word document, you select everything, you do Control C, right, and then you open the China document and you do Control V, and then you replace Western with China, and then you're done. You have your strategy. It's not how it works. It's a completely different part of the world. It's a completely different culture most of the time from the West. So you need to adapt, and if you're not ready to do that, or if you're too slow to do that, you will not be very successful. And we've seen examples of companies that did not like to adapt or couldn't adapt. Sometimes you can't, and then you will fail. Some examples are Walmart that tried to do their electronic shops here, or Uber. Uber is a famous one of companies that just don't make it. Typically, it's not adapting to the local market. But you also see very successful large brands. For instance, KFC. Very, on every corner of the street you can find a KFC. And I was a little bit surprised when, in the beginning, when I arrived in China and I went to the KFC, I thought, oh, this is also spicy and old. So, but actually, that's the reason why they succeeded. In the beginning, they had a team of in the West that was designing the breakfast menus, which was all muffins and bacon and egg, right? And it didn't go well. Until they released the menu design to China, when it was all replaced with some porridge and things that people eat here for breakfast.
Yeah, you don't expect to see in a fast food restaurant.
Right, right. So you will see many products that you will see never on anywhere in the world, and that's okay. You have you have the option as a brand to redefine yourself in China. Typically, you should. There's some more examples like IKEA or Aldi, which is a supermarket chain.
Aldi is doing great.
Aldi is doing great here, but in the Netherlands it is, or in Europe it is considered as a lower end supermarket. You go there for the cheap products. In China, you go for quality
and good prices, though.
And even good prices, not the cheapest, but compared to the quality, everybody is happy to pay a little bit more than the cheapest. So on average, it's still a very decent price. IKEA also here is at least a medium brand, but you could almost say a higher end brand. While in Europe, where IKEA started, you would go there as a student. So it's a completely different positioning of your brand. And it's not that difficult because nobody knows your brand anyway. So whenever you position your brand, when you're coming from abroad to China, is fine. There's no clash because you don't have a brand in China, because typically people don't know you unless you're a luxury brand. But then anyway, you would already be here.
Well, the Chinese market is without its challenges. So what hurdles do you think a foreign company might face, and how can they overcome these obstacles? And any practical tips from your experience?
Yeah, I think it depends on what kind of company you are, but having a local management team is a must, and you must also give enough freedom to that local team to execute. If every decision needs to go back through to the home market, it's too slow. You have a time zone difference, so typically if you do that, every decision will be delayed with 1.5 to 2 days at minimum. But probably you also need that decision needs to be discussed inside the home country part for the company. So it will be way too slow. So you must trust the local team. You must trust them with decisions. You must trust them with deviations from what you agreed. Otherwise, you cannot not keep up with the China pace.
Actually, I have some case study as well between the local company and the headquarters. There's something you talk about trust. But how can they obviously they always want to more access from the headquarters, right? But how can we let headquarters trust us? If you have do you have any suggestion for local team? How do they build the trust with the headquarters?
Yeah, you need to you need to manage expectations. So typically, you will have some KPIs that you set with headquarters, whether that's revenue, whether that's volume, whether that's usage. There can be many KPIs, and you just focus on those. And how the local team achieves them is most likely not the way how you achieve them in your home market, but just trust the team that they can do it their way, and just check the KPIs. I mean, in the end, it's very simple how you can trust or not trust. And then if things not work, then obviously you dive into try to discover why things don't work. But also for that, you need to listen very carefully what the local team is saying.
And not to mention that among the past decades, there have been a large amount of Chinese people who have been studying, working overseas, coming back to China. So those people have the advantage of knowing China and knowing overseas. So those people usually find works in big corporations because overseas corporations because they know the market, they know the market there and they know the market here, and they are more able to be able to cooperate with both sides, I guess.
Yeah. From the chamber we have access to more than 5,000 alumni from the Benelux. It's a group that we actively engage with, and foreign companies often are very interested in these ex-European studies. Because, like you said, they've lived at least 4 to 5 years in those markets, and they have a much better cultural understanding of how people communicate, how decisions are made, and it's much easier for them to translate between the West and the East, and vice versa.
So you have you have worked closely with companies from Benelux region. How do you see regional difference play out in how business approach China? So is there something unique about the Benelux companies' approach different to another country like that?
Yeah, I guess the Benelux countries are more pragmatic. For sure the Dutch. The Dutch have been, it's a very small country, so we might not look very impactful, but actually for China, it's the second largest trading partner from Europe. So first is Germany and second is the Netherlands, which is quite remarkable for such a small country. And the way we do that is because the Dutch have been traders always. We've always been in between the West and the East for hundreds of years. We've tried to find innovative ways to gap the West and the East, and the Dutch were just shipping and trading all those goods. So that's a little bit in our genes, and that's different from sometimes larger countries where brands already have established themselves in a bigger market, so they become more arrogant and more determined on what they think is working well for them in the home market. So for them to adapt to China is sometimes more complicated. While if you come from a more humble situation and if you're like in the trading, like but this
Find other opportunities.
you're easier to find middle ground. Because that's what trading is typically, right? You have a supply and you have request, and then you need to find a middle way. As a trader, you need to make a little bit profit, so you do a little bit here and a little bit there, and that's basically, finding the middle ground is maybe easier for the Benelux countries because we are very small than for big countries like Germany, France, or Italy, or Spain. Yeah.
In your experience, what are some warning signs that a company strategy is heading in the wrong direction? Like they have set up, they have done the market research, they are ready to invest. What signs are they looking for to make sure that it's the right direction?
Well, it's hard to have
Generalize, yeah.
right to have
Or maybe you can share
a
some
single
examples.
success story because we wouldn't be talking about it if there was, right? So again, what are signs for not succeeding is not trusting the local team. If that's the case, then you just better either stop or replace or come here, visit here to restore the trust. Not willing to adapt in product to the behavior here. Once again, thinking that you can copy paste a product, a strategy from the east, from the west to the east, most likely it will not work. There are very few examples of where that works. And typically, you need to adapt to be successful. And in which way? That can be many ways. There's no single advice you can give that. But more often than not, it is changing the product inside the scope of the product and the product itself, or even sometimes the demographics of the product, etc., etc.
Yeah, true. Talking about that, with a friend, she's an entrepreneur, and she has designed products that she intended to sell first in Russia and in France, and she discovered that now she's in China. The demographic of her product would be totally different.
Yeah.
Because culturally, they don't have the same references, and basically she was aiming maybe at more mature women to wear her gowns, and she realized mature women in China don't wear that kind of thing.
Right.
But younger generation might be likely to
yeah, I have an example exactly the other way around. I know a company that creates private office spaces. So it's basically a box, you scan the QR and you go in with one or two persons and you work from there. Well, the target was, and the marketing strategy was, young professionals that move around in the city. Actually, it was older people that wanted to break from the city life and some peace, and wanted to maybe practice their instruments, and they are actually more using those boxes than the young professional that flashy with a laptop moves around in the city. So, there are many options here that you didn't consider.
Yeah.
That's always the case, and you can always be surprised. But be able, be open to adapt to that, because if that's working, then that's working.
Yeah. Especially seniors here have one who have more money.
Yes.
It's a good demographic to target. Maybe now it's about, we talk more about adapting to China's new normal. We've talked about a little about the COVID, post-COVID era. Now that there are more competition in the market, more market maturity also, what kind of strategy do you recommend for companies to differentiate themselves in China?
Yeah, it's hard for me for brands. If you're a brand, so if you're a B2C company, what you really need to do is a market investigation. I don't think there's a single advice that I can do than that. Do your market investigation, come here, experience it yourself, look at what the competition is doing and if they're successful or not. If you're a B2B, don't expect to come here with an end product. Or if you have an end product, let's put it that way, if you have an end product, you probably will face a lot of competition. But if you are a B2B company that makes a component for an end product, I've seen many examples of very successful companies that just focus on one part, and that one part is used in Chinese end products, and Chinese are more than happy to buy a single component instead of developing it themselves. So if you're in manufacturing or you're creating a single component that is used in an end product, that the market is massive, and you can be very, very successful here.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, the quality that we can expect from overseas company for the producing components.
Yeah, quality,
Yes.
innovation. It does not say that there's no innovation on the China side, because typically what people are afraid of is, okay, but they copy my products, and but that's also part of innovation, right? Because typically they will make it better, either cheaper, use other materials, or even enhance quality or add more features. Also for R&D in China, it is a country that must not be overlooked. If you look at the number of STEM graduates here in China, it's almost 60% more than anywhere in the world. So there's a lot of bright minds that are educated and graduating here in China, much more than in the West. So a logical conclusion is that a lot of R&D and innovation is going to be done here, because they simply have more bright people to do so.
Yeah, talking numbers, of course.
Yeah.
Even the number of the population and the access to education in the past decades been
Yeah,
growing.
has increased tremendously. So also that is China's speed. A lot has changed in the past 15 years. In the past 15 years ago, it was very normal for innovation to be brought into China. Now a lot of innovation is coming from China, and that's just in 15 years. So you can only safely assume that this will just go on. It will not stop.
And I would say for we're talking about multinationals, and they have maybe centers or producing a manufacturing industry, etc. They have centers all over the world.
Yeah.
The cooperation between those different spots, might be good, especially if they take into account the talents in China.
Yeah. Although a trend is due to the geopolitical situation that we are in now, typically what you see is that it is in China for China. So if you're innovating or making products, you will develop them here for China. Because
we see a switch. I mean, basically before China was producing for the world, now they're producing for themselves.
Yeah, yes. But also companies are more what they call de-risking or decoupling. It's more that the sites in China also produce for China, and not so much maybe anymore for other markets, because we see more regulatory pushes from governments. So one way to de-risk that is making sure that your entities here are self-sustainable, so can supply to the market here, and maybe not only export the products to outside.
So you mentioned that we've seen a shift in regulatory policies, but we've seen also a shift in economic policies in the recent years. How have these changes impacted foreign businesses, and how should companies navigate those changes?
Yeah, I think companies that are looking to come to China, first of all, China has a very open mindset for helping companies to settle here. It is a very diverse landscape, so there's no global rule set that is applicable to everybody and everywhere. These subsidies, because typically these are subsidies or tax cuts, are arranged on a local area, so that means a district or a town, or is typically part of a town, because the towns are so big here. And it can be very helpful and beneficial for a company that is establishing themselves here. Things that you typically would see is a 5-year tax cut on profit, or even 10 years is not a very long time for China. They are very happy to support you 10 years long in tax cuts or rent cuts or subsidies for people that you hire locally, etc., etc. In the West, typically, sometimes they refer to this as illegal state support, but actually this illegal state support is also available for foreign companies because it's just a normal state support here, and they don't really differentiate between if that is a local entity or a foreign funded entity. So I would for sure say to a potential newcomer here that this is part of your investigation and can be a very important decision factor in where to locate your office or your factory.
Yeah, like before, 10 years ago, Shenzhen was
it was nothing.
field of rice.
Yeah,
Now
it was
it's just the biggest manufacturing
hub of the world. Yeah, and that's how fast it goes. Another thing that I'd like to mention is China is always long term. So when I talk to districts, and of course they try to position themselves as the best district in the world to have foreign investment. But if they share their success cases, these cases are all from 99, 2005, maybe 2007. And I realized it's like, wow, these are success cases for them, and that's 20 years ago. That company started, and it started with 2 persons and a single workbench, and they gave him an office for free because it's not that much. You can work here, you don't need to pay tax, build your business. Now these companies, there was a German company, it's employing 1,500 people in that same district. And for China, this is a success case. It took them 22 years to reach that level, but that's okay. It's a sizable business now, and they're very happy, and they're very proud to present that. And they're very proud they helped in the beginning to make that a success. So these are all very normal people, and they were really happy to share this story with me as a success case. And that's why I say it's so important to come here. It's just normal people that want, just as everybody else, want to be successful in life and in business.
Yeah, that might be. We're talking beginning of China pace, China speed. Things can go very, very, very fast, and you can achieve success very fast. But they're also looking at long-term success.
Yes.
Because for them, it means long-term hiring, long-term taxes, rents, etc.
Yeah, so China is, you can have short-term success, but they're focused on the long term. That starts with the 5-year plans that are presented and adjusted every 5 years, where in the West typically you have a moving from left to right every 4 years. That's not the case here, so it's very stable. And everything is focused on long term. At least the policies from the government are all focused on long term, at least 5 to 10 years.
So, I would like to add one more question here. So, in China, for different cities, they have different resourcing advantage, right? Even the policy, they have different to offering. They have some freedom to offer some policy support to foreign companies. So if the foreign company want to enter China, so how do they know where I should start from? Which city I should stay for my first step? So is there any factors you can suggest for them to refer to?
Yes, you should find a partner that has been here for a longer time that can help you find a suitable area for your industry or for your company. So there's no single advice. I can't say you need to go to Shanghai, Beijing, or Shenzhen. It's completely different for every company. So you need a local expert that has the most recent knowledge on where your company has the most chance to succeed. And this is invaluable advice that you must seek. Can't expect to build that yourself because it takes too long. So this is an expense that you need to make while you enter China. It can be part of your market entry and market research, market entry. But for sure, preferential policies from local governments need to be part of your entry plan.
Okay, so as we look toward the future. What industries or sector do you think will offer the most significant growth opportunities for foreign companies in China?
I think in the current stage that we are in, end of 2024, rising geopolitical tensions, I would say a B2B company that inserts themselves in the supply chain here in China has the most chances of being successful. Like I said, the geopolitical situation is now that big brands, if you're a brand, you can be hit with political tariffs any minute. It is a slap here and a slap there, and who's chosen is it seems very not very random, but you don't want to be in a position like that. So you better insert yourself as a component inside the supply chain. Then at least it's unlikely you are impacted very fast or very hard.
Okay, that's great. It's very insightful,
Yeah.
actually. So
Thank you for joining us today.
You're welcome. Thank you for the invitation.
we're so happy to have you here and to listen to your insights sharing here.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
I think Thomas has accepted this kind of market entry strategy. He's an expert at the contact centers and AI technology. So we're looking forward to next time we have more discussion. And
Okay.
You can have
Okay.
a part 2.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Thomas.
Thank you. We had the high five.
Okay.
Our podcast is crafted for business executives, global strategists, and investors who need to adapt to this new normal. Each episode features in-depth discussions with industry leaders, insightful analysis, and practical case studies that offer actionable strategies for succeeding in this complex landscape.
Tune in and be part of the conversation where the East truly meet the West. See you next time. Thank you.
Thank you.